All right, let's get a little bit of update. One, I just wanted the Delica in the background because I love this thing. Just, it is such a cool little truck. We took the muffler off, straight exhaust right now. We're going to do a stack on this side, and then on the other side do a snarkle. It sounds like a little baby Cummins. It sounds sick. But yeah, brought some stuff over in the bed. It's about a 2-hour drive from where I live near Orlando to Interstate Performance, which is in Palm Coast. But yeah, gonna give you guys a quick update where I'm at with the car in the preparation for fab work and all that good stuff. So here we go. Walking in the door, Interstate Performance, Mr. Mashu, that's my Shiba. Anyway, actually, let me turn off the TV real quick and I'll start this back up. All right, so quick update on the Corvette, some of the progress. As usual, time is the enemy, but been trying to plug away. I've been off again this month on purpose and trying to get stuff done on this Vette as much as I can. I'm not gonna lie, like I underestimated some of the stuff with tearing down the Vette. It's a little tedious and trying to do it where you're not just destroying the car. But yeah, another thing is, it's clean chassis, never been a wreck, but judging by the outside with all the body panels, it's kind of hard to tell everything. There's a few little rust spots, nothing like rusting through, but more than what I anticipated, but it's nothing big deal. It's just going to take it more cleanup on that side. But yeah, kind of going to go through basically what I've done so far. So here it is in its strip glory. We had the glass removed. When the glass guy removed it, obviously the glass popped. They all do because they're under tension. But he left a lot more cleanup than what I paid to have done. Should have been. I mean, I could have just cracked the window and probably done the same. But whatever. So yeah, I had to do a lot of cleanup around the edge of the window frame. You can see like here, that's actually a little bit of corrosion from in the aluminum, but that's from where just water was getting. This thing sat probably for a while with a blown motor or something, so it is what it is. The one spot that was kind of bad was just in that area, which it looks worse than it is right now because I'm cleaning up on it. That's actually more just dust. I could wipe that and make it a little bit better. But there's a box that's usually right here. And that was like holding water and caused a bunch of that issue. But cleaning it up, getting it back to where it needs to be. So yeah, pulled the whole front end of the Corvette off. That part's pretty easy. Have the C6 subframe in right now. If you notice right here, there's a squared notch. That's actually going to help a lot with the 2J's rear oil sump. Taking measurements and everything, it's going to pan out pretty good, as you can see there. But yeah, we have a motor plate that I had actually he's machining a little bit more for the head clearance stuff. It's just a new part, and we were trying to dial it in. Autosports Engineering, I'm going to be doing their billet valve covers, and we might be working on a belt or cam cover and all that stuff for the front, their timing covers in billet to go work with the motor plate and with this outlet here. So yeah, that's that. This again is the engine that was in the GS300. It was just making, I think, around 6 something in the GS300, but now the GS has a 3.2 liter stroker from Real Street. Those guys put in, and it's got like, I think it's they're expecting to hit 1200 horsepower on the dyno this next time. Crazy. But anyway, this is what's going to be going in the Vette. Going in there, that's the C6 rear subframe in case I need to use it. We're not sure yet. We're going to see what happens with the new rear arm setup and all that. So that's the C5 one. You can see a little bit of the difference, just the way it is. The wheelbases are a little bit different on the C5 and C6 in the rear. It has to do with the arms, and I think it's the mounting points of here. I'm not sure if it's the lower arms, but we'll find out once the suspension comes in. It's supposed to have shipped Friday, like I said in the last video too, I think. Josiah had put did some updates to it and modified a few little things to make it better, so it delayed it. I know Jonathan Cash just got his while Josiah was on their little U.S. tour. He dropped it off so he can get it ready for FD in the Cadillac, which is the same thing as this car. It's C5. I believe it's C5, maybe C6 frame. But as you can tell, this was today. This is the rear tub. I tried to do my best to pop it and not completely cut it up, which I did. It took a lot more work that way, but holy crap, it's a pain in the ass. That's just a piece of fiberglass just sitting there. Don't worry about that. I have to leave some of this, I think probably right here at this line, for the halo part to hold, and then also to mount the rear hatch and stuff. So I'll clean all that up, but just for now, I cut it here to make it a little bit easier. This panel bond is no joke. It took some definite finagling. And yeah, these are takeoffs from FD. These are actually 295s, the big meaty boy Kindas. I think they were on Jaeger's car last year, or I don't remember who they came off of. But because I have a help tire stacks, I drove this semi up to New Jersey last year and stuff. I just took a set of the scrubs, which it's basically going to be for fit up, so we can kind of see what we need, blah, 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 once we get the body kit and wheels and all that good stuff. That's a good bit down the road as the way things are going. But yeah, I took everything in the dash, because this car, when I got it, it still had the dash, it still had the AC and all that stuff in it. It still had windows and the doors, so everything's been gutted. I've been working on prep. I got to cut some of the bolts off. Started prepping, I don't know if you can see it, down here for where the cage kits is gonna go, which I think I showed before. Just a lot of cleanup, a lot of things, and trying to just like be strategic in how we're doing it. The trans tunnel, it's pretty wide. Let's see if you can see it. But with the DCT, we might have to modify it, which there's these two little humps on both sides of the trans. If we came straight up and then brought it back flat, or even raised the tunnel hair, which we have the space for, it's going to work out great. We're going to close that hole up. We don't need a trans hole because it's an electronic shifter, basically. But yeah, I got that done. Got to the door, or got the glass out and all the motors, all the wirings out of the car. Just getting everything prepped. We got to start seeing what we want to do with the front bash bar and all that stuff. We'll make headlight mounts. I was debating on popping these off. I'm going to use them. I might cut them down, but I was going to use kind of like what everybody else is doing. Pop off the seam seal, or the panel bond, and then I found a guy that makes 3D printed tabs to the right measurements, so when you put it back on, everything's spaced correctly. And then I'll do riv nuts, which I'm probably going to drill holes first into the frame while it's here, and then do the riv nuts and do it that way. Or I might just clean everything up, leave them, cut them to what I need, paint them, and be done, because this isn't as big as what the rear is going to have to be. Now with the rear, I was going to try and save some of the wheel well. It, just like everybody else has done, it's like a great idea, but once you start trying to take things apart and like messing with this panel bond, you realize it's just not going to work. It's going to be too much of a pain. It's going to be easier to get everything going. These are the updated, they're either C6, or no, it says 03. So these are the later model C5 fuel tanks. Since this is an early model 98, it uses different ones. But Radium Engineering makes all their stuff for these tanks, so that's why those are there. Those are going to go in. So we're using stock fuel tanks, which sit in this cubby, which is awesome. The design is great. Weight placement is great. It's going to be a good spot. Don't have to worry about a fuel cell, especially when you're dealing with quick change rear end that's going to be right here. And everything else, we're going to do the firewall and probably battery box. Everything will be back here. Trying to get the weight back here because we're going to need it, especially that trans. The trans is heavy. Speaking of, this is the DCT. Try and get an idea of the size. It's not that it's like completely and utterly huge. It's just weird, you know, in certain areas. Like the bell housing's not that big. It's just fat right after the bell housing. So yeah, all that side of stuff. So we're close to doing mock-up with the engine now. We were actually thinking about doing it today. It's just, you know, there's no time. the goal is to have it at SEMA this coming year, 2024, towards the end of the year, but I'd like to have it tested and driving well before that. Then hopefully 2F has all the body panels done, get the car painted or wrapped or whatever, get the livery done, get everything done on it. All right, back in the shop today. Got some more progress done. So the vette was sitting right here, but we went ahead and moved it to the lift. Last you just saw, I took off the back tub and all that good stuff, so everything was starting to get everything stripped. I came in today and started cleaning off some of the panel bond and all that crap. But then we put it on the lift so we can start getting underneath the car and doing a bunch of other stuff. But we got impatient and we really wanted to see what it looks like with, let's see, a JZ sitting in the engine bay. So it's sitting on the engine stand right now, which is a little bit crooked that way. But you can get an idea of how good this thing fits in here. And we took a bunch of measurements, so we already kind of knew this. Mind you, the subframe is not all the way up. I just have the bolts kind of threaded on. So it needs to come up, and the engine's going to go down a little bit and back a little bit. But the factory Toyota rear sump is almost perfect in that notch. So we are not going to have to do anything with the subframe and notching it out. It's literally going to sit perfectly. It's pretty insane. And like I said, the motor's going to come down a little bit more. So it'll clear the shelf, but I'm probably still going to notch the shelf just so we have access to that back ignition coil. So I already knew that, and like the water port and all that stuff. But man, this is what we're working with, which is pretty sick. It's insane too, because this actually sits back pretty far. Like I said, it's going to come back a little bit further, and it's going to go down. But look where it's lining up. So that's your crank pulley there. Or the snout, the crank snout. But yeah, and what makes this all that much better, using the FDF stuff, these are the tabs for the factory steering rack, which would have sat right here and made this nearly impossible. It made it a pain in the butt. It would have made the engine have to go higher. But instead we're using the E46 steering rack in this pocket, which is below it. So it's not going to be anywhere interfering with it. The steering shaft is going to come in and connect right here. So all this space, sorry, right here, I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing, but this space right here, where that's going to come in and connect, not going to interfere at all. It's crazy because it's almost like the oil pan, the rear sump, and everything is meant to be in this subframe. Also, if we use the C5 subframe, it wouldn't have worked out either, because this has like the triangle. So if you see here, it's triangulated. On the C6, it's squared off, which works perfect for the oil pan, which this we would have had to cut and shave. So things are kind of working out perfectly. It's pretty awesome to see it. Been waiting for this day. It's kind of a big step in things. The next big thing is I got some cutting to do on these like ribs that are right here going into the trans tunnel to open up that. So then we're going to test fit how the trans is going to sit in here, and if we're going to have to do some fab work on the trans tunnel. But as of right now, things are looking really promising. It's really hopefully going to start coming together pretty fast. I mean, the hard part is getting this thing to where it's at now, which is basically a bare shell, and then putting it together from there, man. It's pretty awesome. Like I said, this was the back. Got all the panel bond. Started taking all that off. I'm going to drop the fuel tanks. So the other reason why we were putting this on the lift, and start getting underneath and cleaning up some of that stuff too. But yeah, cage is going in too. This week we were going to go ahead and start it, but just decided to start clearing up, getting more stuff out, and I'm going to start cutting little bolts and tabs and cleaning everything even more while it's easier to get to. Pretty much going to prep the whole chassis so that I can paint the frames and do all that stuff. And then we got to decide what we're going to do with the bash bar setups or whatnot. Yeah, man, I'm beyond excited. This is working out great. So I'll stop talking, get some more work done, and get some more updates coming for you guys.